Hey, friends. Wanted to. My God, my face is so shiny. Good. Oh, my goodness. Hey, friends. I want to be able to see the time. Ooh, I am shiny. Anyway, y'all, what's up? Happy Friday. It is a Friday, and I'm happy because it's day 2 of my 30-day live. And today we're talking about letting go without guilt. Let's get right into it. Hey friends, it's your girl Ness of Glamour by Ness, and welcome to my cozy corner here on YouTube where beauty meets real life. So let's glow together, babes. And we're gonna dive right on in with our affirmation. So our affirmation for our topic this evening is letting go without guilt, right? So our affirmation is this: my no creates sacred space for my yes. Come on, somebody, that's testimony. And you know what they say? The word no is a full sentence. And so, what I'm discussing is my journey through completing the 60-day manifestation cleanse from, or by rather, Armand Wiggins. This came at just the most opportune time in my life to definitely catapult me to manifesting everything that I desire. And I'm still working on that. I'm still working on my manifestations. I'm still working on really just waiting for them to arrive. I'm waiting. I'm waiting for my manifestations to arrive because I need to hurry up. But let's talk about what letting go without guilt essentially entails. There's 4 points that I'm going to make. The first one is this, and if I'm looking down, I have notes. I just don't want to ramble. Um, Essentially, I suffered from people pleasing. My therapist would say anxious to please, essentially. Um, and honestly, overcommitting. I feel like I've been overcommitting a lot, which is why, hi everybody, welcome, welcome. Which is why essentially this came at the best time. So on my live yesterday, I discussed my to do list being a mile long. And honestly, no one thinks no one who can do 50 things in one day. I mean, if you just count up all of the things that you do in a day, I'm sure it amounts to that. But I'm talking specifically about tasks. Like 50 in a day, that's a bit much. And I reduced mine to just 3 cuz my to-do list ran like 50, 11 miles long. Okay. There's no way I would be successful in anything that I've set my mind to. And I wasn't. Hence why this was so beneficial. But what I learned is in the to do list that I had, it had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with a lot of other people, their needs, their tasks, etc. So that made me realize okay, am I in alignment with what I'm trying to manifest in my life? Because if I am taking care of others, if I am always meeting their expectations, where do I leave room for myself? I didn't, which is why I mean, I accomplished things, y'all, but I wasn't accomplishing anything. I had these grandiose ideas for my business, personally, professionally, and I just felt like I was never attaining that. It always just seemed so far away. And I'm literally seeing other people live out my dream. That's how delulu I was in people pleasing and overcommitting. And so I would say no. Well, what I'm trying to say is I would say yes to things I should be saying no to, whether it was, hey, can you come help me? We should go out, etc. So I always prioritized other people versus myself. And to my detriment, I lost myself. I mean, I lost myself, and to what avail, right? Because the other person is getting what they want from me, and what do I get? Disappointment, shame, guilt, shoulda, coulda, wouldas, regrets. Like it's it's a lot. Which brings me to my next point, point number two. Honestly, it is truly an emotional detox to say no. When you're saying no to someone, it's scary as hell. Now I know some people like, you know, they have no problem saying no. But for your girl, eh, I mean, hell, it's still a challenge. Um, but I feel like I'm getting more comfortable, right, in saying no. But it's really an emotional detox because it's such a foreign thing to do when you're not you well, when you're a chronic people pleaser. It's a very foreign thing to do, to accept, to execute, because it's scary as hell, because we're not responsible for other people's reactions and or actions, right? You you have to prioritize your feelings and yourself. And I wasn't doing any of that, y'all. I would be saying yes to this, knowing good and doggone well I wanted to say no, truly. And so it's um it's been a journey to say no, okay? Like that emotional roller coaster, the anticipation, the anxiety, the fear that you get in the pit of your stomach when you're like, damn, like, do I make an excuse? And it's not just saying no, right? Because you go through like the motions of, do you like make up something? Do you lie? Do you use an excuse? Are they going to know you're lying? Like, if you're lying. But, in my journey, I have realized quickly that, F them people. F them people. Okay. Um, just yesterday, for example, I had now this wasn't a no situation, me saying no, which I should have, but work wise, my supervisor, well, let me just kind of build and set the scene. um I need a report. This report I cannot obtain. I have to request it from my supervisor. And there's a multitude of templates for a multitude of other tasks. And I tried looking for a template for this particular request, and I didn't find one. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to, try to beat a dead horse or try to figure something out that I have no business figuring out. I'm just going to put in the request of just one sentence, submit, and that's that. And the supervisor went ahead and I guess they were reviewing the said request and reached back out to tell me that, when I get an opportunity, can I provide, um, well, he advised that I had some missing information in my request, and then proceeded to request that I send said information. And I advised and said, well, I responded and said, hey, I tried looking for a template, didn't find a template, so I wasn't sure what to, add to this request, hence why I just sent the request. And then, essentially he was like, this was via Teams, and essentially he was like, yeah, they want things in a particular way. So I'm like, well, what is the information that you're needing? And then he lists the information. So I said, oh, well, this information isn't missing, it's in the file if you look for it. So my critical thinking, I deduced that your ass like you don't want to go look for the information. You just want me to give you the information. And at that point, because it's work, I had two ways that I could respond. I could either easily read you for filth and tell you where you can go shut up your request, or essentially call you out and and make you aware that I know what you're trying to do, which is have me give you the information. And for me, that's what you should have just led with versus telling me the information is missing. So I went with the latter. I went with the latter. And now I know going forward what to provide for this particular request. But back then, Ness would have spiraled and been in a panic, and I would have never, you know, made this individual aware that I know that they were trying to pull a fast one. Never. Now, I did inform them professionally, but I would have never done that. So I equate it, it's kind of equivalent of saying no. However, not quite, but I just share that just to, just to provide context into, and I guess, yeah, just to provide context on how no can take on, honestly, multiple forms, right? And so, which brings me to my next point, boundaries. Okay. I never knew what boundaries were. And I learned the hard way what they were. I learned the hard way. So I am of Caribbean descent. Okay. And growing up, what's boundaries? Because I'm Haitian. Let me just say it loud and proud. Your girl is Haitian. And growing up in a Haitian household, what boundaries? Okay. What privacy? You had none. And therefore, growing up, I just thought and assumed that is life. People don't respect. I mean, I didn't even know what boundaries were because in a Haitian household, what, who are you? Who are you? Okay. So, essentially, getting into therapy really opened my eyes. And that's where, and that was what, maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, maybe more than that, maybe 10, because it's been a minute. But being in therapy really enlightened me at how juvenile I was to respecting myself. Like it was non existent. And I really had to learn and grow to, and still growing, okay, into learning what my boundaries are and teaching people how to treat me and hell, teaching myself how to treat myself. That's a job within itself. And when I started enforcing my boundaries, understanding my boundaries, leaning into them, it definitely invited blessings. I believe myself to be a very intuitive person. And there's certain lessons I don't need to learn to know what the end result is going to be. I can see it, I can sense it, I can feel it, and immediately boundary, okay, for myself. And that's just a form of protection. And it hasn't failed me since. It hasn't failed me since, y'all. And honestly, it has invited so many blessings, so many lessons, so many opportunities for me not to just grow, personally, but also professionally. And so with this cleanse, I too had to insert some new boundaries for myself. And that came into, you know, in the form of deciding. I restarted this cleanse 6 times. It took me 6 times. And on the sixth try, I finally locked in and forged forward. And that's one of the um, biggest achievements for me, because it has been a journey of not being afraid to succeed. Hell, not being afraid to fail and learn those lessons and sit with those feelings and be comfortable with the unknown, and why I've had to wait so long, and why it's taking so long for my manifestations to come in. And I feel that even up until now, like, this is, man, I don't even know how many times I've restarted this 30-day live challenge here on YouTube. Um, ooh, this is my reminder. But I have to decide, and I have to lock in, and I have to have a boundary. So usually I film like late evenings. But I'm like, hey, I have the time now. Why not just hop on live, execute, and have fun on here and talk about my journey, and hopefully be able to inspire someone else, you know? So, which brings me to my fourth and final point, and it's replacing guilt with gratitude. I'm not starting from scratch. Yes, I failed, but just like Aaliyah said, if at first you don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. I freaking love that song. Even though it's like, it's a love song, and it's one of my favorite songs, like, from her, besides Rock the Boat. But I love the lyrics to that. Let me see if I can remember. What would you do to get to me? What would you do to get to me? Now I can't remember it. Would you give up or try again if I hesitate to let you in? And for me, I translate that to, just anything platonic. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, if at first I don't succeed, like, would I give up? And my answer is no. Just like I ended my live yesterday, what would I invest in? I'm investing in myself 100 million times over, 100 times, 100 million times over, times infinity. That's how much I'm investing in myself. So every time I don't execute, instead of feeling guilty about it, if I feel guilty about it, I allow myself to feel that, but I don't allow myself to remain in that feeling. I look for the opportunities. Okay, what was happening? I hate people that drive cars like that. Like, really annoys me. It's very distracting too. I had a really good point that I was trying to make. Um, but looking for opportunities to be better. And we're not starting from, rock bottom. We're starting with experience. And so for me, embodying, embracing, allowing gratitude to fill me up helps me realize that I am human. I don't have to be too hard on myself. And it's okay. I'm exactly where I need to be, where I should be and want to be, in order for me to maximize the opportunity that I have to really create a safe and sacred space for my manifestations to come in. What I don't want to do is rush through the process, miss the lesson, and having to repeat it again, a year from now, 3 months from now, a week from now. I want to be able to build on my foundation and be solid, right, in what I'm looking to call in, and excel the first time around, even though I've restarted this like a gazillion times now. But is there ever a time, you guys, where you've said yes to something that deep down inside you really didn't want to do? and you should have said no? Drop it in the comments down below. I want to know your story. Tell me, share it with me, and also share the lesson. And did you learn? Have you learned? Um, are you still learning? Okay. So that's it for today, guys. That's all I got for you. But before we leave, let's reiterate our affirmation. And it is: my no creates a sacred space for my yes. All right, you got it? My no creates a sacred space for my yes. All right, y'all. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video. And if you enjoyed it, definitely stick around for more. And tell your friends, tell all your friends, tell everybody. But I'll see you next time. Bye.